Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. You're watching Oman News. First, the headlines. Prior to his departure, His Majesty King Juan Carlos of Spain praises safety and strength of the banking system of the Sultanate. The Sultanate and the State of Qatar signed an agreement to establish a factory to assemble passenger buses in the Wilayat of Bulletin. His Excellency the Minister of Transport and Communications says before 2040, Oman will be within the best 10 countries in the logistics sector globally. And developing sense of knowledge and highlighting teachers' role, top goals of Arabic Language Forum in the Governorate of Al-Lahira. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. After a three-day official visit to the Sultanate, during which he met with His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Majesty King Juan Carlos I of Spain left the Sultanate this morning, where he and his delegation were seen off on their departure at the Royal Airport by His Highness Sayyid Haytham bin Tariq Al Said, His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Masoud As-Sinaidi, Minister of Commerce and Industry and Head of the Mission of Honor, accompanying His Majesty the guest, Her Excellency Kifaya bint Khamis Al-Raisiya, Sultan's Ambassador accredited to Spain, and staff members of the Spanish Embassy in the Sultanate. His Majesty King Juan Carlos was accompanied on his visit to the Sultanate by an official delegation comprised His Excellency Pedro Morinis, Minister of Defense, Her Excellency Ana Maria Pastor, Minister of Infrastructure, His Excellency Jose Manuel Soria, Minister of Industry, Energy and Tourism, His Excellency Rafael Sporto-Rono, Head of the Royal Palace, His Excellency Juan Jose Ortasan, Spain's accredited ambassador to the Sultanate, His Excellency Gonzalo de Benito, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Her Excellency Jaime Garcia Ligas, Deputy Minister of Trade, His Excellency Manuel Nino, Deputy Minister of Infrastructure, and a number of officials. Prior to his departure, His Majesty the King of Spain praised the safety of the Omani banking system and strength of the Sultanate banking sector, which was not affected by the global financial crisis which affected numerous countries around the world. That came during the visit of His Majesty the King and his delegation today at the Central Bank of Oman, during which he was briefed on the role of the bank in economic development witnessed by the Sultanate, status of the Omani banking sector, its safety and capability of financing projects that are set up in the Sultanate. Then His Majesty King Juan Carlos took the tour in the Currency Museum at the Central Bank of Oman and listened to a briefing on currencies which were in circulation in the Sultanate since 1801 until 1970. Besides most important legal money notes and other foreign currencies that are housed in the museum. He also toured display halls and minted coins available in the museum. The Sultanate and the State of Qatar today signed an agreement to establish a factory to assemble passenger buses in the Wilayat of Mudaybi in the Governorate of North Sharqiya, worth 61.5 million Omani riyals. The construction is due to finish within 3 years and will produce in its first stage 2,000 units per year. It will be contributed in by the Oman Investment Fund and a Qatari transport company. The agreement was signed on behalf of the government of the Sultanate by His Excellency Darwish bin Ismail Al-Bulushi, Minister responsible for Financial Affairs, and on behalf of the Qatari side by His Excellency Jassim bin Saif Al-Slaiti, Minister of Transport of Qatar. His Excellency the Minister responsible for Financial Affairs said the agreement came within the existing joint investment cooperation in various sectors. He added that the technology used is Chinese. The project is vital to stimulate the economy in the governorates of North Sharqiya and provide hundreds of job opportunities for Omanis. The Qatari minister said the project is a complete setup to produce buses and some kinds of cars with emphasis on technology and knowledge transfer to the region as an addition to the project. His Excellency Hamoud bin Sangur Al-Zijali, Executive President of the Central Bank of Oman, said there were queries from the Spanish side regarding possibility of financing some companies which will implement projects in the Sultanate, and had explained to them that the banking system is in a sound financial situation and capable of meeting many financing demands to all projects by Omani or foreign investors in the private sector in the Sultanate. He also acquainted them with rules applied in the Sultanate from the perspective of foreign investment encouragement, safety atmosphere for these investments, and easy to transfer points to the outside of the Sultanate without any restrictions of money transfers or capital transfer for investment profits outcome. His Excellency Darwish bin Ismail Al-Bushi, Minister responsible for Financial Affairs, said that Yiti touristic area in the Governorate of Muscat and touristic area at Ras Al Had in the Governorate of South Sharqiya have achieved a good stride of implementation and were a result of cooperation between the Sultanate and the State of Qatar. In a statement to Sultanate Radio of Oman, Oman Radio and Television, the Minister also said cooperation was not only limited to the investment side of the country, but will be possible to be outside of the region when there are tangible opportunities for engaging in such projects jointly. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Taisi, Minister of Transport and Communications, stressed that latest logistic practices and applications in the field of technology were reviewed in the meeting of the work team tasked to put up national strategy for logistics services in the Sultanate until 2040. This strategy will include the Sultanate within the top 10 countries in logistics field.
Efforts of making the national logistic strategy is really going on well. We are on the verge of finishing phase 1 of it, which is forming the teams and collecting all the data and assessing the current situation of the whole logistic and transport industry in the Sultanate. There have been all the people and the teams has been already finalized. There are about 45 people, national and expats, are working hard now on this and putting this strategy. There are also, we hired students from Sultan Qaboos University and from the Maritime College also to assist and to put their views on the logistic strategy. Data has been collected and analyzed, and we hope within 2 months we will start the next phase 2, which will be visiting other countries and try to understand how they are performing in terms of efficiency, in terms of dealing in logistic and improving logistic in countries, and also analyzing whatever data.
All the sectors, the academic sector, the private sector and the government working here side to side, developing themselves the plans for 2040 is a quite novel idea in the Sultanate. This is for the first time that this happens. We all agree also with all the initiatives the government has taken in the field of railways, all hardware, roads, railways, ports, infrastructure. When you are bringing that together, when you integrate all these activities together with the private sector, which is going to use that, you will see that Oman can be a logistic hub, and that this will of course impact the national economy. It is for me difficult to say, but how much the impact will be, but I'm convinced that it will be of real importance.
The Sultanate marked World Labour Day that falls on the 1st of May. It witnessed participation from various government institutions and entrepreneurs, the Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry, along with the government, who are working to improve legal regulations in this field. It is expected that the new labor law will improve the work environment and relations between employees as well as employers. His Excellency Hamad bin Khamis Al-Amri, Under Secretary of the Ministry of Manpower for Manpower Affairs, stressed in a statement to the Sultanate of Oman Radio and Television that the law of wage protection is in a final scrutiny, mentioning that the law of social insurance was approved and will be applied in the specified time at the 1st of July. He also added that Symposium of Small and Medium Enterprises, which was held at the Royal Camp in Shamkhat, approved an important issue, which is a program of protecting wages, which is taking place now between the Ministry of Manpower and the Central Bank of Oman, and practiced application is on the way. Social insurance law is already issued by the Royal Decree, and its practical application will start from the 1st of July. Legal and Legislative Committee of the Shura Council shall finalize traffic law referred to it in the specified time prior to the transfer of specialized bodies. That came in a statement to the Sultanate of Oman Radio and Television by His Excellency Saeed bin Ghanim Al-Maqbali, Chairman of the Legal Committee at the Shura Council, who also said that the committee for the second time will continue reviewing it as readings in the law. The committee will also host other bodies of entire link of the traffic law and will benefit from their many points of view as the committee is gearing up to finalize the draft law in the specified time. Still to come in our news bulletin, Arabic Language Forum is held in the Governorate of Al-Lahira. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. The 4th Conference of Asian Research Group for Diabetic, which hosted by the Sultanate, discussed obstacles and challenges which face the doctors in treating diabetics. The conference reviewed a number of international recommendations to control this disease and what the modern science achieved in this field. It hosted a number of experts from many countries, mainly Germany, India, Gulf Cooperation Council, and Arab countries. The conference targeted doctors working at the diabetic field, nutrition, and health intellectuals. The National Program of Epidemiologic Surveillance for pneumococcal bacteria and the diseases caused by them was inaugurated today during the first conference of pneumococcal bacteria infection, which is held in Muscat with participation of doctors and expertise from the Sultanate, Canada, and France, who specialize in infectious diseases and combating infection. It aimed to invent formulation about changes and bacterial infections, the prevalence of pneumococcal bacteria infection in the Sultanate, diseases caused by it, and the vaccines available to prevent of infection, in addition to discuss medical updates in this field. A training program on hepatitis was organized in the Sultan Qaboos University Hospital in cooperation with Armed Forces Hospital. It witnessed a participation from more than 150 doctors and academics from various institutions of health sector. It reviewed what was achieved lately in this field by centers specialized in treatment of these kinds of diseases. The researchers were made to study hepatitis, to highlight ways of its prevention. Efforts are being exerted to spread awareness in the society so as to limit these kinds of diseases. An Arabic language forum was held at the Governorate of Al-Lahira It highlighted the role of Arabic language teachers to deliver knowledge as well as to find new means to make students love and practice the language. The forum focused on cultural aspects of the Arabic language. The participants expressed that this language was the language of the Holy Quran, and they must learn and improve their skills to acquire it properly. And now for the general weather forecast. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the Sultanate. Winds will be northwest light to moderate, and seas will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 1.5 meters. This is the Sultan of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Prior to his departure, His Majesty King Juan Carlos of Spain praises the safety and strength of the banking system of the Sultanate. The Sultanate and the State of Qatar signed an agreement to establish a factory to assemble passenger buses in the Wilayat of Mulaybi. His Excellency the Minister of Transport and Communications says before 2040, Oman will be within the best 10 countries in logistics sector globally. And developing sense of knowledge and highlighting teachers' role, top goals of Arabic Language Forum in the Governorate of Al-Wahira. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here in the newsroom and the studios, we wish you a very good weekend. Good night.